Hi, everyone, and welcome to Like, Share, Follow. This is episode 83, and I have the amazing Ellyn McCulloch, who is a product and digital strategy lead, formerly of the Brisbane City Council, and about to start something amazing in the next few weeks. So, welcome, Ellyn, and tell me, what have you been doing since you were last at the University of the Sunshine Coast?
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. So excited to be here. So I think the last time we saw each other was in 2015 for our PR volunteer events class with Min Swan, and we did the Multicultural Awards.
That's right.
So it's been a hot minute since then. Since then, I have had a very interesting career. I started off working in the PR marketing agency, went on to become a digital media coordinator for a digital agency in Brisbane, then moved over to gambling, went to Ladbrokes, which is now known as Entain, where I was a CRM executive, then up to a customer marketing specialist. Was there for about 2 years and then moved on to Brisbane City Council, where I was a comms officer and then moved into a senior digital officer role, where we had a really fun project to deliver the Brisbane app. I don't know if you've heard of it, seen it.
No, I haven't. Tell me about it.
So about 2 years ago, when we were at the thick of COVID, we were briefed that the Lord Mayor wanted to deliver a product that was able to help small businesses in Brisbane and get residents to be able to connect and see what's going on. We looked at a number of different apps and what we could do, and went to tender and appointed a company to be able to develop this app with us. So my role there was to be able to manage the vendor, stakeholders, work with the digital manager, Sarah Robertson. And after about 2 years, we delivered that product, and it's my legacy piece. I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish there. Essentially now it's an app where businesses can sign up to either create or claim their business. We pull in data from ATDW, where if you're already on that as a lifestyle business, so that's restaurants, hotels, retail, people can sign up, claim that, and own all of how they want to list themselves, add all of their social media profiles, and residents and visitors are able to jump on and see what's nearby, what's in their area, and they can even create guides on their favorite businesses and events and things to do, so which they can share, and they can get push notifications from businesses that have got their specials on for that day as well. So it's this real fun. It's like a product that's just for Brisbane, so people can see what's on or where to go and explore new areas and hidden gems. So wrapped that up, and now we've moved on since council. So it's been an interesting career today, a couple of very different industries so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you've managed to really land some really amazing roles since you finished university. So what do you think has set you apart from other graduates in landing these amazing positions?
I believe what has set me apart so far is I've just been able to be myself, and I've brought my personality to interviews and wherever I've gone to try and make it clear that you're not just hiring just someone, you're hiring me, and this is how I am, and this is what I can bring to wherever I'm going to, and really made sure that I asked the right questions and found ways to connect with people in the industry. It's a pretty daunting place to go because you don't know what you don't know. So I always found the best thing to do to set yourself apart is really just find a couple of questions when you're in the moment that you can build that relationship with someone, and then you'll become a bit more memorable for them.
That's great advice. And so do you mean sort of in an interview situation or just
Interview situation or going to networking events? I've always found a lot of value from going to local events, especially in Brisbane, where you're meeting a lot of like-minded people, and being able just to go up to them and be curious and ask them what they do, where they've been, if there's any fun projects that they're working on, or just their general interest, something that you could probably relate to or talk about.
Excellent. And so that's great advice that you've just given. So what's been some of the best advice that you've been given to help with your career?
Well, I've got two bits of advice that I've been given. One was when I was at USC. There was a course that I did, I believe it was about media writing, and I can't remember who the lecturer was at the time, but she gave this great bit of advice that I've always remembered: to not go for the big companies. Try working for local businesses or businesses that you wouldn't necessarily think that you'd want to work for, because there's a lot of room to be creative, like accounting or non-profits. So that has been so useful, and I've always had that in the back of my mind wherever I've gone to. How is this different? How can I make an impact here? It's, I won't be just a number here. I can actually, really shine. The other bit of advice that I've received is find a mentor, whether it's someone that you work with or someone that you know, whether you directly ask them to be a mentor or you just observe what they're up to and how they behave. Just that has been really successful so far. I've always looked at the people I'm around and my managers or my colleagues and seeing, what's finding their key strengths and really watching them thrive in their environment. And I've always just tried to not mirror that, but really take that energy and, see if I can kind of step into those roles with them or with their mentality. They've got there for a reason. Finding a mentor is a huge benefit.
Yeah. Oh, that is amazing advice, because you don't know unless someone sort of teaches you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Especially, if you're going and you're asking them or you put it forward to them, they find that you'll find that they really appreciate the fact that you admire them, and they really will work with you to try and support you and keep you motivated. So it's been a huge benefit so far.
Excellent. And so now, reflecting on your time since leaving university, so you said that you graduated in 2016, so it's been a little while. What do you think was some of the best skills and knowledge that you learned at university that you found most useful in your current career?
From university, I definitely learned, it's more of the soft skills that I learned at university, of like how to be resilient and pivot. You spend so much time at uni and things can go wrong very quickly, and just being able to take that in your stride and just keep going forward, finding ways to solve that problem, whether it be someone's dropped out of a group assignment, how you can just take carriage of that and continue to push through, or you didn't get the marks that you were looking for. Being able to ask feedback as well and really, take that on board, what that feedback is.
Yeah. And on the flip side, what has been some knowledge and skills that you wish you'd learned at university that you really needed in your current career?
This question I really thought like I had to sit back and really think about, because it's been like, you think of the last 7 years of what I've done and what I have picked up since uni, and that's having that. It's a bit of that emotional intelligence, but being able to actively listen and be diplomatic. That's something that you can't learn that at uni. You just learn that when you're working and you're in those environments. But being able to sit back and actually listen to what's going on and how you can possibly solve that problem, and being able to think on your feet.
Yeah. That's also a really good point. And so do you still work much in sort of the social media space, or are you quite active even personally?
I do, but I don't. So with my background working in digital media on all of the platforms, it's led me to go into positions where social media is something that it's one of the many channels that I work with and advise of the strategies that we could use on the social media platforms. But I now look at the big picture of how can social media fit into this. It's a very different area. And how can we brand or talk to people on social media and accumulate all of this data that's going to be meaningful to the business. So it's definitely something that I work with closely, but I don't work directly on the platforms anymore.
Yeah. And so even if you sort of still work with, but not directly, has there been some sort of, say, platform change or even just a piece of information you've learned in the last 2 weeks? Because we know social media changes all the time. Something that you've learned recently that you found really interesting that you'd like to share?
So I found really interesting over the last 2 weeks or the last 2 months as well is the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial and how social media has completely changed just the entire discussion of what's happening and people's behavior, because what you're seeing on the big media sites, they're saying one story, and then you're seeing on social media people are asking the questions, and you've got lawyers jumping on YouTube to break down what's happening in the trial. And it's really changed the way that people perceive media now, as well as seeing truth on social media, because you see a lot of misinformation on social, but especially in the last 2 weeks in particular, you're seeing all these thought leaders coming on board and saying, actually, with my education, this is the breakdown of what's happening. And people love this information. It's just this new way to look at things.
Absolutely. And I mean, even the fact that it was streaming live on TikTok is quite a new phenomenon, really, if you think about it.
It's so different. It has never been done before. And I'm obsessed with the trial and what's been happening. So I've essentially been watching all the live streams while it's happening. But I've been watching it with this YouTube lawyer, Emily D. Baker, and she has the live stream, and she's also there talking and breaking it down, discussing what's happening, and people are able to engage with her as she's giving this feedback while she's doing it live, and she's also answering all these questions. And it's also been quite fascinating because of PR and that background that I have, seeing how things have just completely spin and the narrative, and also that litigation piece. And PR plays a very big role in that as well. So seeing that huge difference on social media versus what's happening in big media has been fascinating to watch.
Yeah. And even, I mean, when lawyers and, qualified people are doing that commentary, it's also a great personal branding exercise for them as well, because they're really showing off their expertise by doing that, and also providing a service by breaking it down for in layman's terms for people who are unfamiliar with how it all works.
Yeah, and it just shows that there's this huge appetite for people who want to learn from those in the industry, and they want to go on these live streams and be able to ask them the questions, whether it be about law or how to brief something on social media, or what's happening on these performance channels. Like, look at Salesforce as well, when they do Dreamforce every year. People are able to interact directly with them, and they feel like they are making that connection to a brand as well. So it's just, personal brands and big media brands too are really harnessing the strength of social media in a way that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to keep growing. It really will, with different innovations and things that come out.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
And so what advice would you give to, say, an emerging professional, so someone who is still studying or just graduated or just new to their professional lives, on how to succeed in their career?
So there's a few bits. There's a few bits here that I can talk to, particularly what I've learned and what I've been able to achieve is there's so many pathways you can go down with social media, because being able to understand how social media works, whether it be through the performance section or on content, you learn a lot about people and their behaviors, and it's so transferable, and it's a much needed skill that a lot of companies don't have. So the advice I would have is, don't be afraid to ask the questions and present any ideas that you might have. If you've just signed up to this agency or to this big company or wherever you go, being able to ask, why are we doing it this way? What have we done previously? And if you find any ways that, you could make a bit of a difference, or any suggestions you might have, rather than just saying it out loud, put something together and present it to someone that you either work with alongside or one of your managers, because they might really appreciate that you've taken that extra initiative to put something together that they can look at, whether it be right now or later in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's just not having that fear. I mean, not going in and acting like you own the place, but
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, but not being scared to share your ideas and putting them together in a way that is logical and easy for someone to understand. So preparing them.
Definitely, because it's that you're there for a reason. They've hired you for a reason, or you're part of this team, whether it even just be work experience. You're there for a reason. So don't be afraid to, take a bit of initiative and make those suggestions, and really just learn your strengths. Once you find what your strengths are, and it's a hard thing to do because you might not know until a few years down the track, but really trying to learn what is your strengths, and you'll end up, once you're starting in positions that work to those strengths, you'll really, really love what you do. And it's not going to be just a 9 to 5. You'll really love what you're doing, and you'll go above and beyond naturally.
Yeah, that's great advice. And so now we reached the most important question of the whole show, and that is, who do you like, share, and follow?
So as I've just mentioned, Emily D. Baker on YouTube. She is someone, she's a new love, girl crush. Definitely like her. I share the National Aquarium of New Zealand. Every month they have a penguin of the month. I love seeing that content every month. I wait for it, and it's also like, it'll be a good penguin in the bad penguins that they'll see. It is so much fun. And I follow my millennial career.
Excellent. And so maybe if you can, maybe if you could tag those or put those accounts in the comments of this post.
Absolutely, would love to. But they're fabulous. All three are very different.
It's funny. I took some social media students to Sea Life Sunshine Coast, and they had a content competition. And the students who put penguins in on their TikToks and reels went nuts. So yeah.
To hear that. I think when I was in high school up on the sunny coast, I did work experience at Sea Life, and it was the most fun I've ever had. Originally, I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we had a great time. So we'll definitely go back next year. And so we've reached the end of the episode. Do you have any final words you'd like to share? Any words of wisdom before we close?
That was so quick. I think the main bit I would like to share at the end of this is, don't underestimate the power of your degree. Really, you can go so many different places. That your degree, it does not pigeonhole you to any one area or any one section. So you can really go and do so much. You won't believe where you end up in 5 years.
That's exciting stuff. So thank you so much, Ellyn. And in 2 weeks' time, on the next episode of Like, Share, Follow, we have Caroline Nomensen, who is a HR business partner at Just Better Care. So Caroline actually was studying HR and social media at USC. So it's interesting how social media can be combined with so many different types of professions.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ellyn. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.